Start, madam.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome to the TRS webinar classes, Intermediate Second Year Zoology, Neural Control and Coordination. Already, we have completed 2 chapters. Yesterday, cerebrospinal fluid we have started. What is cerebrospinal fluid? The fluid contained in the central canal of spinal cord, subarachnoid space, and cerebral ventricles is known as the cerebrospinal fluid. CSF is a clear, colorless, transparent alkaline fluid. It is a part of extracellular fluid. Yesterday, we have talked about it. The normal amount of CSF is about 150 ml, 100 to 200 ml. CSF is formed by the choroid plexus or situated within the ventricles. So, what are the ventricles? How many are there? Where they located? We have completed. The choroid plexus. Choroid plexus are the sites of the production of CSF. So the large amount of CSF is formed in lateral ventricles. Actually, these are the lateral ventricles. It is the third ventricle, aqueducta, and it is the fourth ventricle, and so on. The choroid plexus. The choroid plexus are tuft of capillary projections present inside the ventricles and are covered by pia mater and ependymal cells. Choroid plexus are located in the ventricles, all the 4 ventricles. Those choroid plexus are covered by ependymal cells and then pia mater. Actually, they are the invagination of the pia mater. They generate the or they secrete the CSF. And what are the functions of the CSF? CSF acts like a cushion and prevents the movement of brain against the skull. Yes, it protects from the friction and mechanical shocks. It acts like as the cushion. CSF is the medium through which nutritive substance and waste materials are interchanged between the blood and brain tissues. Yes, it provides the nutrients to the brain tissue and it collects the waste material from the nervous tissue. So these are the functions of the CSF. CSF is different from the blood. Okay. Next, here you can observe that these are the 2 laterals. Here also it is one section and it is a lateral section like this. These are the 2 lateral ventricles. And then just wait, I will show you the flow of the CSF. See here, flow of cerebrospinal fluid. How does it flow? Already we know that all the ventricles have the choroid plexus. Choroid plexus secrete the CSF. So we will start from the lateral ventricles. Lateral ventricles to CSF pass on from lateral ventricles to third ventricle through the foramina of Monro. This is the one. Already I told you that foramina means it is a hole-like structure, particularly in the bone or at anywhere. Foramina of Monro. 2 sides. See here, it is one side, it is other side. 2 lateral ventricles. These 2 lateral ventricles connected with the third ventricle by the foramina of Monro, or we can call, otherwise we can call it as interventricular foramina. Interventricular foramina. Okay. So both sides. That's why I have written here 2. This one and this one. 2 foramina of Monro. The CSF is pass on into third ventricle. From third ventricle to where does it go? cerebral aqueduct. It is located in the midbrain. See here, you can see up here. These are the lateral, and the third one here aqueduct. This is the aqueduct. I will take the live. Yes. Yes, this is the third one, aqueduct, and it is the fourth ventricle. So it reaches to the fourth ventricle through the cerebral aqueduct. From the fourth, where does it go? From the fourth, it enters into the subarachnoid space. So now it is produced in the brain. Now it is entering into the outside of the brain through the fourth ventricle. Fourth ventricle has actually fourth ventricle. If you draw like this, it is the fourth ventricle. So here third ventricle is there. Cerebral aqueduct is opened, and it is the third ventricle. From third ventricle to cerebral aqueduct to fourth ventricle. Here one foramen is there. Is here. Other pair of foramens at the sides of it. Okay, these are the foramens here and here, and this one. So when CSF is entering into the fourth ventricle, through this, what is this one? This is the center of it. What is this one? This is the foramen of mesendae. Foramen of mesendae. Through the mesendae, it enter into the, this is the fourth one, enter into the subarachnoid space. Next, sides, we have other foramens. What are those? Foramen of Lashka. Both foramen of Lashka. Two sides, foramen of Lashka located. Through it enter into the subarachnoid space. Through the mesenda, subarachnoid space, and then it went into the central canal of the spinal cord. Central canal of the spinal cord. So again it enters into the all the outside of the brain. It pass on, and already I told you that there is a arachnoid villi and sinus are there. So it enters into the sinus. It drains through the sinus. It is the flow of the cerebrospinal fluid. That's why it is able to provide the nutrients to the nervous tissue, and it is able to collect the waste material from the nervous tissue, because it is circulating entire the brain, inside and outside also. These are the functions of the cerebrospinal fluid. Next, spinal cord. So far we have learned that about the brain. Brain is the first and important part of the central nervous system. The second part is spinal cord. What is spinal cord? All of you know that all of us have the spinal cord. Yes, backbone. Always generally we talk about the backbone and spinal cord. We use all those words zigzagly, or all those words for one concept. See here, the spinal cord is located in the vertebral canal or neural canal of the vertebra and three spinal meninges. Actually, a vertebral canal is located the vertebra. The vertebra is made up of vertebrae, 33 vertebrae. See here, these are the, just I will draw here. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. These are the vertebrae. These vertebrae connected by the disc connective tissue. Yes, such a kind of vertebrae, 33 vertebrae joined together and form the vertebra. This is the bone. For example, this is the vertebra. This is the bone. Here, hollow place is there. This hollow place is called vertebral canal. In this canal, our spinal cord pass on and all the way of it. See here, this is the brain. medulla oblongata, and medulla oblongata extend as a spinal cord. This is the vertebra. Yes, 33 vertebrae is connected by disc, by here by disc like collagen, and then this is the canal. In this canal, spinal cord go on, pass through in the all the way. This is the spinal cord. Okay. Did you find the differences between vertebra and neural canal and spinal cord? It is just one fiber, just thread-like structure. Okay. It extends from the medulla oblongata through the foramen magnum. Another foramen is there. What is that? Foramen magnum. So the cranium is there, isn't it? The cranium is there. Inside the cranium, brain is located. From that medulla oblongata through the foramen of magnum, small hole on the cranium, isn't it? So through it extends as a spinal cord up to the second lumbar vertebra. Second lumbar vertebra, it is the second one. Up to here only, not up to the coccyx. Up to here only, spinal cord ended here. Yes? Okay, later we will discuss about it in detail. Cervical enlargement. Cervical enlargement, what is that? Cervical enlargement is due to presence of more gray matter. Cervical, where is it? C5 to T1. Can we find here C5? Yes, it is C5. C5 to T1 here. Here, some enlargement, bulge or projection. Why? Because more presence, more gray matter is presence. Why do we need more gray matter there itself only? Because there start the upper limbs. It is associated with the upper limbs. That gray matter has to send the nerve flexes to the our upper limbs. For example, our hands. For us, upper limbs means hands. So our hands are associated with the spinal cord. Where is it? C5 to T1. So that's why their gray matter is more than normal situated in it. That's why it has the enlargement. Are you following me? Yes. Next, second enlargement also is there. That is lumbar enlargement from L to S3. Lumbar L to S3 here. L2 to S3. Actually, S3 means not up to the here. Yeah. Actually, later we will discuss spinal cord, sacral. What is the sacral area? Okay, lumbar enlargement, where can we find? L2 to S3. It innervate lower extremely limbs. Yes, these are the hind limbs. And forelimbs we have legs. Where do they locate? Where do they start? Where do they associate with the spinal cord? There so much of matter is present, gray matter is, to send the nerves. That's why there is a enlargement. Next. All of you know that in your lower sections, particularly in your 10th class, you might have seen this image, TS of spinal cord. Yes, the spinal cord, if divided into two halves by two grooves, anterior median fissure and the posterior median sulcus. See, it is the posterior part, this side. In the image, upper side is posterior, lower side is anterior. Or dorsal side, ventral side. Don't forget, don't get the confusion. It is the posterior means dorsal, anterior ventral. Here, two halves. How can we do the two halves? By the median fissure. Anterior median fissure. It is the median fissure. Are you able to watch here some space between two arms? Okay, this is the median fissure. Because of this median fissure, this spinal cord gets into two halves. And this side, posterior side, dorsal side also, there is a sulcus. Why do we call it as sulcus and why do we call it as a fissure? Fissure means deep groove. Moreover, completely divides, it divides into two halves. But whereas the sulcus is the division, of course it is also division, but internal only, not the complete division. Okay, it is a sulcus. And the spinal cord reduces the thickness at conical portion called as conus medullaris. Oh, later I will show it, but here I want to explain by using this image. It is the H shape. Okay, this H shape is, what is that? Gray matter. This is the white matter, and this is the horn, dorsal horn, and lateral horn, and then ventral horn. Just you watch them. I will use these words when you go into. The extension of the conus medullaris as the non-nervous fibrous tissue to the coccyx is called phylum terminale. I will show them in other image. You can see here all those words you can find here. It is the cervical enlargement. Have you observed? It is the cervical enlargement, and here lumbar enlargement. Okay, and then here you can see the central canal. And what are those? These are the three layers. Just like as brain, spinal cord also having three layers. Already I told you that same dura and arachnoid and pia. This is the outermost and it is the middle arachnoid. It is the innermost. This actually it is the structure. When we do the TS section, we can see like this. Okay, next coccygeal. So actually our vertebra 33 vertebrae are there, but whereas our spinal cord ends at the place of L1, L2. See, this is the L1 and L2. Okay, here ends, and after that these fibers pass on into the coccygeal end. This end point is phylum terminale. Okay, caudal end point is. This is the cauda equina. We call it as cauda equina. The cauda equina is the non-nervous part. Okay. Next. Yes, it's a central area of H-shaped gray matter is composed of cell bodies, neuroglia, dendrites, and unmyelinated axons. It is the H-shaped gray matter. Already I explained. It is central canal, and this one is white matter. A narrow longitudinal cavity called central canal. This is the central canal, or neurocele, and it is lined by ependymal epithelium. Ependymal, one kind of neuroglia. Ependymal epithelium. For example, it is the neurocele. Ependymal cells is like that. It is the canal. Okay. The white matter consists of bundles of myelinated axons. Myelinated. Due to the myelinated axons, it gives us gray color, white color, isn't it? In white matter consists of bundles of myelinated axons. They are anterior funiculus, posterior funiculus, lateral funiculus. See, this side is what is that? This side is posterior. So this is posterior funiculus. posterior funiculus, and this side anterior, this side lateral funiculus. Here also lateral funiculus. Center of it H-shaped is gray matter. Center of the gray matter, one small hole like structure is there, that is very narrow. It is the neurocoel. In that our spinal cord is pass on. Okay. Here once again you can say all the terms which are used previously. We can observe all those things here. Spinal cord anatomy. It is central canal, it is the gray matter and dorsal, white matter and dorsal and ventral, posterior, anterior, and 3 layers, dura, arachnoid and pia, and these are the nerves. These are the nerves. Both of them, this side is a dorsal side and ventral side. Both the nerves together form spinal nerve. These are the spinal nerves. How many we have spinal nerves? How many we have? 31 pairs. 31 pairs of spinal nerves we have. Later we will discuss. Now we are discussing about the spinal cord. Next. So far we have completed the central nervous system. Central nervous system is consisting of brain and then spinal cord. So we have in detail, we read in detail about the central nervous system. What is the other nervous system? That is peripheral nervous system. What is peripheral nervous system? The peripheral nervous system is consisting of 2 types of nerves. You know, all of you know that cranial nerves and spinal nerves. The nerves which are associated with the brain are called cranial nerves. The nerves which are associated with the spinal cord are called spinal nerves. There is no any deviation. Yes, PNS is formed by the cranial 12 pairs and spinal 31 pairs. Okay, altogether how many? 43 pairs. So peripheral nervous system consisting how many? 43 pairs. Cranial nerves, they enter. Where do they start? They enter and emerge out of the cranium through different foramina. Cranial nerves, name itself is indicating that cranium box is there. Inside the cranium box, the brain is there. So from the brain, the nerves arises. Those nerves are called cranial nerves. Okay, they are functionally, there are 3 types: sensory, motor and mixed. So now we are studying about the cranial nerves. Okay, later we will read about the spinal nerves. First we are reading about the cranial nerves. Cranial nerves functionally sensory, motor and mixed nerves. How many we have? 12 pairs, not 12. Don't forget, don't get the confusion. Generally in your examinations you write just cranial nerves 12, but not 12. They are 12 pairs because we have 2 halves: cerebral hemisphere and cerebellar hemispheres, and even spinal cord also we have 2 halves. So that's why all the nerves are in paired. So these are the 12 pairs. What are those? Olfactory and optic, oculomotor, and then trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, and then facial, vestibulocochlear, and then yes, glossopharyngeal, vagus, hypoglossal, and accessory. These are the 12 paired one. See, this is the brain of right half and left half. Okay, these are the arising from the brain, or some nerves are reach to the brain. You know that sensory nerves reach to the brain. Sensory nerves arise from the sensory part and reach to the brain. They are sensory nerves. We can call them as, otherwise we can call them as efferent nerves, efferent nerves. And other type of nerves, motor nerves. Motor nerves arises from the brain and reach the effector organs. Those are called motor nerves. Some mixed nerves. So among all 12 pairs, some are sensory, some are motor, some are mixed. We will read about them little bit detailed. First one, olfactory. The name itself is indicating that olfactory is connected with the smell. Yes, olfactory. Olfactory is the sensory. You can find this red color indicates the sensory fibers. The blue color indicates the motor fibers. Okay, it is a sensory nerve. It arises from the what is that? Olfactory bulb is there. Already we have discussed, and olfactory epithelium is there. It is located at the roof of the nasal cavity. Yes, from that the nerve arised through the bulb and reached the optic, reached the olfactory bulb, which is located in the temporal lobe. Have you remembered that? Temporal lobe. We have 4 lobes of a hemisphere, isn't it? And then this is the first one. Second one is optic. Optic also sensory. Sensory means it has to arise from the body part or sensory part. From retina, it arises from the retina and reaches to the occipital. Have you remember occipital lobe? Yes, it is the smallest lobe of the brain or cerebral hemisphere. Yes, this is optic. And then third one is oculomotor. It is motor. About 2 are sensory nerves. Oculomotor is motor. Oculomotor, and then fourth one is trochlear. This is also motor. These two pairs are connected with the eye only. All eye muscles, it is connected with all eye muscles. And trochlear is superior oblique muscle. Okay, these are the motor neurons. So they arised from the what is this part? Midbrain. This is the midbrain part. They arise from the midbrain and reaches to the all eye muscles and oblique muscles, ciliary muscles. Okay, this is about the third and fourth. Next, the fifth one is trigeminal. It is a sensory nerve. Sensory nerve means it has to arise from the sensory part, from the face. From the face also, where actually trigeminal nerve is a sensory nerve. They start from the Gasserian ganglion. What is Gasserian ganglion? It is the collection of cell bodies. What are those cell bodies? Cell bodies from where they are the actually maxillary and mandibulary and ophthalmic. See, one is ophthalmic. One nerve started from here and the maxillary and mandibule. These are the Gasserian ganglion. From ganglion, the nerves arises and reaches to the what is this part? Pon. Reaches to the pon. Okay, and then it is the mixed one. Motor also is there. Motor nerve arises from the pons and reached to the muscles of mastication. These are the muscles of the mastication. This is about the trigeminal. And sixth one is abducens, not scent, here not T, abducens. Yes, abducens, again it is connected with eye. So from the rectus muscle of eye arises and reaches to the midbrain. Okay, This is abducens. Next, seventh one. Where is the seventh one? This is the seventh one. Facial. Facial is the motor. Motor and then sensory also. Of course, it is sensory also. That means mixed one. Facial nerve. Some nerves arise from the muscles of face, and reaches to the. And here, what is that? Here, this means it is the medulla. Sorry, it also pons in between. Actually, in between, it reaches to the in between of the pons and midbrain. This is about the seventh one. Next, eighth, vestibular. Eighth one. This is the vestibular cochlears. Here, two parts are there. One nerve, it is the sensory nerve. One nerve arises from the cochlear portion and other nerve arises from the vestibular portion. So cochlear portion, what is the sensory part? It is the organ of Corti. Sensory nerve arises from the organ of Corti of cochlear and reaches to the pons. It is pons. From here to here. Here midbrain. Okay, this is a medulla oblongata. This eighth nerve reaches to pons. It has two. Okay, one is cochlear, another part is vestibular. One sensory nerve arises from the vestibular part. In vestibular part, what is the sensory part? Semicircular canals. Semicircular canals are the responsible for the balancing and equilibrium of our body. So sensory nerve starts from here and reaches to the pons. And what about the ninth one? The ninth one is glossopharyngeal. It is the mixed nerve. Glossopharyngeal is the mixed one. Motor is pharyngeal muscles. It arises from the pons and reaches to the pharyngeal. And sensory is tongue and tonsils and pharynx. These are the parts which arises the sensory nerve. Tongue, generally taste buds. Taste buds are located, isn't it, in the anterior part of the tongue. Is the place to emerge the sensory nerve and reaches the what is this one? Pons. Next, not pons. Here it is medullary oblongata. Next, 10th one is vagus. This is the important nerve. It is mixed nerve, important cranial nerve. It has so many functions. Already you might have heard of it, vagus nerve. It is mixed one. The motor nerves arise from the heart and lungs and gastrointestinal tract, GIT. These are the parts to arise motor nerves and reaches to the medulla oblongata. And what are the sensory part? The sensory nerves arises from the medulla oblongata and reaches to the same parts: heart, lungs, and bronchi, trachea, larynx, pharynx, and GIT, and then external ear also. Okay. Next, 11th one is accessory motor. Motor nerve, name itself is motor nerve. It arises from the medulla oblongata and reaches the, what are those? Neck muscles, and then shoulder, and then pharynx also. It is the motor one. 12th, last one, 12th pair. What is the 12th one? Hypoglossal motor. Hypoglossal. What is hypoglossal? Hypoglossal are motor nerve, and then it starts from the medulla oblongata and reaches the muscles which are involved in the speech, maybe tongue and larynx. Okay, these are the 12 pairs. Have you observed 12 pairs? This side 12, we have these numbers are depicted this side and this side also. Both sides we have shown the nerves. That means 12 pairs of cranial nerves. This is about the cranial nerves. We can't remember all those exactly because all the names are new for you, and then they are little bit complicated, and there is no story like sequence. Just we have to remember them. To remember that, mnemonic is here. I have given one mnemonic: 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. This is the 5, 7, 6. So you observe and find out what are those cranial nerves and what are the functions. Depending on the functions, we have placed the numbers on the face. Okay, to find out. Now we are going to enter into the spinal nerves. It is the second part of the peripheral nervous system. The first part is cranial nerves. Cranial nerves are over 12 pairs. Now let us study about the spinal nerves. How many we have spinal nerves? 31 pairs. Yes. Each spinal nerve is formed by an anterior root and a posterior dorsal root. A posterior and anterior, ventral, dorsal. Already I have shown the image. Both the roots on either side leave the spinal cord and pass through the corresponding intervertebral foramen. You can observe here, this is the tiers of spinal. This part is posterior, this is anterior. From the posterior, this is one root, one narrow. From the anterior, another root. Both of them together form spinal nerve. That spinal nerve emerge out. You can see here, this is one vertebra, this is other vertebra. In between there is a foramen, that is intervertebral foramen. This is one vertebra, this is other vertebra. In between there is a foramen. Through it our spinal nerve emerge out. Are you followed me? Yes. The first cervical spinal nerves pass through the foramen between occipital bone and first vertebra called atlas. Here I am not able to show you, but our spinal cord starts from the atlas. That bone is called atlas. Vertebra is called atlas. Yes, a foramen between occipital bone and first vertebra. Why do we name it as special? Because here that atlas bone is able to move. That's why we are able to move our neck. It is the special character. Next, 31 pairs in man, which are classified into 5 groups. Already we know that we have the 31 pairs. Spinal cord or vertebra. We have the backbone or vertebra. Either side of the vertebra or either side of the spinal cord or backbone, we have 31. This side 31 and this side 31. Both of them together 31 pairs of spinal nerves. So all of them classified into 5 groups based on their location, not on the function, based on their location, which they are started in which place. Here again you can see It is zoomed here. These are the dorsal and ventral nerves and form the spinal nerve. You are able to see the foramen here. Through the foramen emerge out the spinal nerve. Already you have observed this image also, like this. This is one nerve and this is one nerve, together form the spinal nerve. Okay. What are those 5 groups? Based on their equation, we have done 5 groups. Cervical, there are 8 pairs. Thoracic, 12 pairs. Lumbar, 5 pairs. Sacral, 5 pairs. And coccygeal or caudal, 1 pair. Altogether, how many? 31 pairs. The lumbar and sacral, see, are you able to see here? It is the cervical area. This is cervical area. We have how many pairs? 8 pairs. See, 8 pairs. Are you able to watch? C1 to C8. But vertebrae are 7 only. But nerves are 8. Don't get confusion here. Vertebrae 7 only. But nerves are 8. 8 spinal nerves. Because beneath the 7th, 1/8 nerve is passed on. So C8. Cervical. Next, T1. From here to here. T1 to T12. It is the thoracic region. So we call them as thoracic nerves. How many pairs? Thoracic nerves, how many pairs? 12 pairs. Next one is lumbar. This is the lumbar area. L1 to L5. But you are not able to see the spinal cord up to L5. Actually, L5 is here. But there is no spinal cord. The spinal cord is ended at in between the L1 and L2, up to L2. Actually, in between L1 to L2, it is the ended. Spinal cord is at the embryonic stage. At embryonic stage, the spinal cord is ended here, but when the growing stage, the vertebrae are developed, but spinal cord, because nerve cells never regenerated, that's why the part is ended there itself only. So spinal cord is ended at L2, in between the L1 and L2 actually. This is called conus medullaris. This ended point is called conus medullaris. But from here, the nerves are passed on. But it is a non-neural part, of course, this non-neural part. The nerves are passed on. It is called cauda equina. This is called cauda equina. That means tail of the horse, just ponytail. We call it as ponytail. In the same manner, all the nerves started here only and pass on to the end. So we can call it as cauda equina. The lumbar and sacral and the caudal nerves extend back along with the filum terminale. Filum terminale. Filum terminale means end point. It is the end point. Thick bundle of nerves called cauda equina. Just now I told you, tail of horse, cauda equina. Because nerve cord, spinal cord is ended there itself only. But the nerves are passed on. Next, plexus. The spinal nerves form the plexus. What is plexus? Plexus means the group of nerves intersect them. The group of nerves intersect among themselves and form the plexus. Nerve cells present in the gray matter are multipolar type. This is other important point. The gray matter are multipolar type. The spinal nerves are joined to form networks. Those are called plexus on either side. How many plexus? One is cervical plexus, that is C1 to C4. Now they reach to neck, back of head and shoulders. Second one is Brachial plexus C5 to C8 and T1, they reaches to arm and chest. Lumbar plexus L1 to L4, they reaches the thigh, anterior, median and lateral. And sacral plexus L4, L5 and S1, S2, S3. They also reaches the thigh posterior. Ikkada thigh anterior and here thigh anterior, thigh median and lateral. Here thigh posterior. Next coccygeal plexus S4, S5 and caudal. They reaches the skin. You can observe here plexus. These are the cervical plexus. These are the brachial plexus. See, the nerves intersect, form the network. Such a kind of structure is called plexus. Here lumbar plexus and sacral plexus. The only one here I'm not able to show here, coccygeal plexus. Next, classification based on general functions. Structurally we have classified them: cervical and thoracic, lumbar and sacral, coccygeal. They are structurally we have classified. Now functionally, nervous system is divided into somatic nervous system, autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system is voluntary, autonomic nervous system is involuntary. Again, autonomic nervous system is divided into two divisions, sympathetic and parasympathetic. So in next video, we will discuss about the systems. Okay, thank you.